My name is Daniel Wright, and I was born and raised in Manchester, England. I am not telling this story for attention or sympathy. I am telling it because silence is no longer an option for me. 3 years ago, I accepted a temporary research contract in the United States, documenting environmental sound patterns in extreme locations. One of those locations was the Nevada desert. I had never seen a desert before. I expected emptiness, heat, and boredom. What I found was something that noticed me the moment I arrived. The desert felt raw, not dangerous aware. During daylight, it appeared lifeless, stretching endlessly under a white sky. But at night, the silence pressed against my ears like weight. The first evening, while setting up recording equipment, I heard someone say my name. Calm, close, British accent. My accent. I turned instantly. No one was there. I blamed exhaustion, jet lag, wind distortion. Every logical excuse worked until the third night. That was when I saw a figure standing far beyond our campsite. It didn't move. It didn't approach. It simply stood there, perfectly still, as if waiting to be acknowledged. My guide refused to look in that direction. He told me quietly that this place was called Whispering Flat, and that people who stayed too long began to hear themselves. That night, I dreamed of sand filling my lungs while someone else breathed through my mouth. On the fourth night, my recording device activated on its own. I was sitting beside the fire, hands visible, not touching any equipment. The red light blinked, steady and deliberate. When I played the file back later, I felt my stomach drop. The recording contained 8 minutes of breathing. My breathing, slow, controlled. Then a voice spoke, using my vocal tone perfectly. Daniel, it said, you're standing where I stopped being real. I confronted the guide. He avoided eye contact and told me stories locals refused to write down. He said the desert copies people, not their bodies, but their presence, their outline. He said, sometimes it lets one version leave, but the other must stay behind. I laughed then. I wish I hadn't. That night, I followed footprints leading away from my tent. Bare feet pressed into the sand. My shoe size, my stride. They stopped abruptly, as if the person had simply vanished. When I returned, my tent was open. Inside, my notebook lay open to a page I had not written. It contained one sentence. If you go home, I go with you. The next morning, our vehicle refused to start. The radio crackled with a single repeated phrase, looping endlessly through static. Property is never abandoned. That was the moment I understood something had already decided my future. Rescue arrives 2 days later. I did not look back as we left. I could feel the desert watching, memorizing the way I moved. Back in Manchester, I tried to erase the experience. I slept in my childhood room, drank tea with my mother, walked familiar streets. For a short while, it worked. Then I noticed sand in my shoes. Not dirt, sand, pale, fine grains, exactly like Nevada's. I live on the 3rd floor. There was no explanation. The whispers returned soon after, always at night, always calm, always patient. You forgot me, the voice said. My reflection began lagging behind my movements. Mirrors showed me blinking after I had already closed my eyes. Friends told me I sounded different, distant, hollow. I was filled with voice recordings I did not remember making. Each one ended with the same sentence. I'm almost ready to come back. I stopped sleeping. When I did manage to rest, I dreamed of Manchester buried beneath dunes, buses half swallowed by sand, people walking slowly, as if learning gravity again. In every dream, someone wearing my face stood calmly at the edge of the desert, waiting. Doctors diagnosed anxiety, trauma response. Medication dulled the fear, but not the truth. Every morning, footprints appeared outside my flat door, bare, familiar. They always faced inward. I tried to fight it. I burned my old notes, deleted every recording from Nevada. But the desert does not forget. My bathroom floor filled with sand overnight. My shower water ran warm, then suddenly dry, then returned, tasting like dust. I stopped inviting people over. I was afraid they would notice the heat. One evening, my power went out. In the dark, I heard breathing behind me. Not aggressive, not threatening, just present. A hand rested briefly on my shoulder. It felt identical to my own. "You lived my life," the voice said. "Now, let me finish yours." I turned on the light. Nothing there, but my passport lay on the table. Open. Boarding pass inside. Manchester to Las Vegas. Departure date highlighted. I don't remember booking it. That night, my reflection spoke before I did. It smiled when I felt nothing. It told me the truth gently. One of us had always belonged to the desert. The mistake was letting the wrong one leave. The desert wasn't hunting me. It was correcting itself. I tried to destroy the ticket. It reappeared every morning. I shredded my passport. A replacement arrived in the mail, approved and stamped. My name, my photo, my eyes but emptier. I stopped resisting. Resistance only made the dream stronger. The voice became clearer, more confident. "You borrowed a body," it said. I borrowed time. I began losing hours, waking up in places I didn't remember walking to, finding sand beneath my fingernails. Once, I woke up wearing clothes I don't own. Desert clothes, sun faded, old. My mother told me I felt unfamiliar when she hugged me. She said it felt like holding someone who had memorized affection instead of feeling it. I didn't argue. The night before the flight, my flat filled with heat. Walls cracked, paint peeled, sand crept in through the vents, the drains, the sockets. I stood barefoot and felt nothing. The mirror version of me stood beside my reflection. "Thank you," it said. "You kept it warm for me." At the airport, no one questioned me. Security waved me through. The flight was half empty. The man beside me never spoke. He smelled like dry earth. When I slept, I dreamed of Manchester fading behind me, streets dissolving into dunes. When we landed, the heat felt familiar, comforting, like returning home after a long absence. My phone lost signal instantly. The guide was waiting, the same one. He looked older, tired. "You came back," he said, not surprised. "I didn't have a choice," I replied. He shook his head slowly. "No, you were chosen." We drove to Whispering Flat. The desert looked unchanged, timeless. I stepped out of the vehicle and felt lighter, calmer. The whispers stopped. Silence welcomed me. The figure waited where I first saw it years ago. It stepped forward. My face, my body, more solid now, more real. We stood inches apart. "Which one stays?" I asked. It smiled. "The one who belongs." I felt something detach inside me, like shedding skin. I'm writing this from Manchester. My hands are steady. The nightmares are gone. The heat no longer follows me. But sometimes, when I stand very still, I hear footsteps outside my door. Bare feet, waiting. Because the desert always keeps what is its own. And one day, it may remember me again.